Hey y'all. Sorry for that week. I was feeling sick that week, so that's why I didn't. I didn't want to be sneezing and coughing all through my sermon. It's kind of a bummer too because that week was my spring break and I was sick for it, and But I still had fun. It was a good time of rest, relaxation, and everything. It's funny too because my sister was sick on her spring break. So that's why I have a theory about her trying to get me sick so I wouldn't enjoy my spring break either. But if you would turn with me to John 13, 1 through 17. Now I'm not going to read all these verses because these are a lot of verses, but just give you the gist of it. So it was just before the Passover festival. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world. He loved them to the end. The evening meal was in progress, and the devil had already prompted Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and he had come to God. He had come from God and was returning to him. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped it around the waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. So, what's going on here? Why did it stop to recognize this? Why is this even in the gospel? Well, back then, people didn't have nice Nike shoes and nice protective shoes that we have today. They didn't even have socks. Most of them had sandals. Most of them were barefoot. So, and as you can imagine, there were no bathrooms at the time. There were no really good stables. So, people would go where they pee. They would gather dust. They would gather dung on their feet and everything. It was really, really a non-hygienic place to live. And foot washing was generally reserved for slaves or the old servants. I mean, it was meant to signify a position of lowliness, maybe even a position of servitude and humbleness, but I doubt it was looked at by the slaves or whatever. It was just a humiliating prospect. I mean, for someone to even know themselves, even if they were slaves, for them to even know themselves and wash feet, I mean, that was a humiliating, disgusting prospect. Yet he owned a king. And you see Jesus doing this, though, to display the humbleness of a father and the gentleness of a father, and to get the message across that, hey, I'm washing your feet, and I'm a king here. I don't have to do it, but you should even tag you think are humiliating. You should do it for one another because you love one another as I have loved you. Next verse pretty much sums up what I just said. He came to Simon Peter and said to him, and I imagine The infection was something like this: Lord, are you gonna wash my feet? The pain, how how awful and how demeaning this prospect was. Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I'm doing, but later you understand. No, you shall never wash my feet. You shall never wash that disgusting part of my body. You shall never participate in such such a disgusting act. That's reserved for that's reserved for slaves. That's reserved for servants. You don't have to do it." Jesus answered Jesus answered, "And even even if this sort of character would not spend so much time on, I still think this is pretty significant." Jesus answered, "And yes, I wash you. You have no part with me. And yes, I killed you from the inside out." Jesus, well, he'd already had his reputation, everything like that. But what would happen if we do what Jesus did? Not necessarily wash each other's feet, because that's not really as necessary now as it was back then. But what would happen if we just leave our supposed reputation at the door? Because our reputation, you have to tell you something, our reputation as Christians, the only reputation we should have is a Christ follower. And if we are Christ followers, we should be able to humble ourselves as Christ did. When Jesus said, "You shall teach, you shall go to the end of the earth, teaching people who I've commanded you to teach." Well, a lot of times we get pompous about people, and a lot of times we think, "Oh, they're not. I would never associate with them. They're just not worthy of the gospel. Just what would people think? I would never associate with them." But as a Christ follower, you're called to. You're called to leave your reputation behind, and you're called to do what Jesus has commanded you to do. You're called to be humble. You're called to leave yourself behind and step into Jesus' shoes. Next, next couple verses. Then Peter seems to get what Jesus is saying. He says, "Then you're not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well." He realizes how unclean he is, and how unworthy he is to be a follower of Jesus, and how unworthy he is to have Jesus do this for him. But Jesus answered, "Those who have had a bath need only to wash their feet. Their whole body is clean, and you are clean, though not every one of you." For he knew who was going to betray him, and that was why he said, not everyone was clean. When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his slaves. "Do you understand what I've done for you? You call me teacher and Lord, and rightfully so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set an example for you that you should do what I have done. for you. Very truly I tell you, no servant is greater than the master, nor the messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you do them. You will be blessed if you do them. So we see, sorry about that, we see that we will have a blessing if we do what the Lord has commanded us. Even if it seems demeaning, even if it seems beneath us. As Christians, nothing should ever be beneath us. I mean, think about it. Jesus went to his lowest point and still took it. I mean, so if Jesus took what was reserved for the lowest of criminals, if he took the lowest punishment, crucifixion, we should be willing to lower ourselves to that status too. Not that I would wish that any of us get crucified literally, but we should be willing to humble ourselves as Jesus did and yet do things for others simply because they need to be done and they're the right thing to do, and we have the capability to do them. Jesus gives us mission and authority to do them. When Jesus says, go unto all the earth, teaching them to observe what I've commanded you, he didn't say, oh, just teach them what works for you. I mean, just teach them how to be a billionaire, or teach them what works for you, or how you got ahead in life. No, there's a big difference between my gospel and his gospel. My gospel says, oh, everything will be role pedal. Teach them that if they accept Christ, everything will be role pedals and gumdrops. No. Jesus had a hard life here on earth. We should teach people that version of the gospel instead of the rosy, Americanized version of the gospel that some of us have grown up with. Guys, this is the sin of the gospel. John 13:1-17. This is the very center of the gospel. Being humble enough to do things for others just because they need to be done and because it's what Jesus expects of you. That is why we do what we do. That is hopefully why Christians become the Christian, because they're so in awe of what God has done for us. They're so in awe that He would send His Son for us to die for us so we could live for Him. And that is what we should do. Because, like it says, there will be a reward. There will be a blessing. Now, don't get me wrong. That is not why we should do it. That's not why we should become a Christian. But God will not turn a blind eye to whatever suffering you endure. There will be a blessing and a reward at the end of your journey. Whether in this world or the next, which in the next world it'll be better than you can ever imagine. That is why we do what we do, because Jesus first loved us, and Jesus was humble enough to do whatever it takes for us. That, in turn, we should reciprocate in full. Guys, I love you. I'm praying for you. And have a great day and a great week. God bless you.